but yeah, so when you was in high school, I remember you told me you started a trucking company, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I started. Well, I technically started my first company in Japan. It was a lawn care company that I was able to do, government contracts, and eventually, get some of my friends to help work. And when I came back to the States, you know, uh, I really wanted to go work at Foot Locker or Finish Line or somewhere, but I wasn't cool enough or cute enough, I guess. And so I had this idea of doing ice cream. One of the guys my mom worked with up in DC, he had an ice cream store. And I don't know if people remember, but when Cold Stone originally started, they would do jingles when you first walked in. They would sing to you and stuff. And it's like, hey,
oh,
that was my idea. So I knew we couldn't compete with that. So my uncle was a truck driver, so eventually, I just got into the trucking industry with him. And then the guy that my mom was dating at the time after she got divorced was also a freight broker. So I was able to get involved with the trucking industry for a couple of years, and we did really well there for a while.
got it. Um, so with the trucking, what did you like about it? What did you learn? 'Cause I think that was like the first successful business that you actually had, right?
Well, the lawn care company did really well, and
Long care. Yeah.
that did well. But yeah, the trucking business was really the first. I would say big company I had that we did about 5 million in annual revenue. So it was really the first big company I had. Um, what did I like about it? I don't know. I mean, I think it was the opportunity to be an entrepreneur to kind of control your own path, and I
Yeah.
think just my personality was one that even though I was doing it with family, I kind of just wanted it to be big. But the thing about transportation is that it's 24 hours nonstop. If those drivers are on the road, you have to be available. Um, I think that was really what was wearing me down. And I was fortunate that when I got to college, I met a guy, Bobby Pham, and he introduced me to the world of digital marketing. And I had dipped and dabbled a little bit, with the trucking company. I wanted to do more technology focused stuff.
Yeah.
I realized that when you look at the Forbes list, most of the guys on there are either in finance, real estate, or technology. And real estate, I didn't have enough, liquid assets to be, big into there. Finance, I'm smart, but I didn't think I was good enough with numbers to go into finance. So
Yeah.
technology was really the only other option I had if I wanted to try to be on the Forbes list. So that's how I got into tech, honestly. That was my logic. I mean, I wish it was more complicated, but that was it.
Nah, I mean, I think I told you this before. Like how I got into sales was out of anger. Like when I was a kid, I used to burn CDs, and then I gave one of my cousins. I used to give him so many CDs. And then one day we went to school. I was in middle school.
Mhm.
He's like, "Hey, yeah, man, I give you this CD, my little cousin, to make me as many as I want." I said, "What?" And I started trying from that standpoint, So
It- it- you know, Greatness comes out of necessity most times. I think most people think that you have this great idea all the time, but sometimes the best ideas come out of necessity.
right, right. Um, so where do you actually get your best ideas from? What is your process for coming up with ideas?
Oh, you don't want to know that. Sometimes it's from just listening to people talk. Um, Sometimes I have to get in the creative space, so sometimes it's from just random places. Like I wish there was just one point or one moment that I could point to and say, this is when I'm most creative. But I think it's those random nights where you're out late nights with a bunch of friends or whatever that just spur good ideas. But I don't have really one. Like I don't go into a room and say, okay, I'm just going to sit in the room and you know let soft music play in the background while the lights are low, and this is going to give me my best idea. Like it's usually a random
I
moment.
actually thought you was like that, honestly.
Not like that. I used to be, man, back in the day. Um, no, it's just random conversations like this, with friends that are smart, and I think people will, if you're willing to listen. I think so many people get in the habit of wanting to force their ideas on other people, but I think if you put your idea out there and then you let people give you constructive criticism back, or even just feed into that, you'll find something that's beneficial. And I think it's just being able to decipher, hey, that makes sense. I'm gonna run with that versus this is how it has to be done. So that's the
Right.
be coachable. If there's one in that long rant, if there's one thing, it's be coachable and be willing to pivot if needed to make your idea better.
Yeah. I think that's like the the two hallmarks of like being an entrepreneur, right? It's like being coachable and knowing when to pivot versus using the buzzword, right?
It's hard. I mean, people, I think, a company in many ways is like a child, and when it's your baby, you want it to be how you want it to be, and everyone wants to be successful. But I think
Right.
people that do the best, they usually start with a good idea, but it's all in the execution as well. And I think you have to be willing to change, to modify on the fly. A lot of you hear the saying, you're basically flying the plane while you're building it, and that couldn't be
Right.
more than the truth when it comes to
Yeah.
entrepreneurs. So.
Yeah. Well, you better get used to that. So I mean, you about to make this other unicorn. So you gonna be flying that jumbo jet trying to fix the engine at the same time.
I'm already doing it, brother. So hopefully the plane gets bigger. I think that's the only difference. Is the plane gets a little bit bigger as you go, but
Right.
it is definitely a knack that you get after you do it for a while. You learn, when you should do stuff and how you should do stuff. So.